Oh, hello there. Today I want to talk about Frieren, because season 2 is going to be out pretty soon, I think. So I just want to talk about the series again. A lot have already been said about Frieren in general, even by me, from like 2 years ago or something. So I wanted to spend some time talking about like the characters and like character moments in the story, and not the overarching plot and how genius it is to follow someone after like the main adventure is done, which I've already talked about before basically. But I'll much rather just ramble a little bit about like different character moments and different characters in general. I had a lot of more moments and characters in mind when I started this video, but I think it would probably take a little bit of too much time, so maybe we'll get to it later, who knows. So yeah, let's get to it, and spoilers for the first season of Frieren. The first character and like character moments I want to talk about is this really old dwarf guy. Wall, I think, Wall, something like that. I don't know, man, he's just like really neat and kinda cool. This old fella just, chilling here and half asleep most of the time, acting as a guardian to this small town where he and his wife once lived when she was still alive. And he's like honoring her memory by still being here. I think one of the magical things about Frieren is how human the characters are. Even the dwarves and the elves. Yeah, pun intended. And Vol devoting his life not only to like this small little village, but rather to the memory of his wife, is really sweet, profound, and kind of like melancholy in a way. And it's just an amazing character that the main cast just meets along the way. And I really think it's interesting. And adding to that is one of the last scenes with Vol and Frieren, where they like look across this landscape and the stars at night. He also forgets that Frieren had already defeated like the Demon King and the big bad of the setting, and talked about, oh, are you going to do that now? And it kinda exemplifies how old and like haggard he is, and how his mind is kinda used up, which is really bittersweet. And Walt finally like remembers something about his wife that he had forgotten, like how she looked and like how she was and stuff like that. Him remembering something about his wife, but then also like forgetting something about reality. And this whole character is really well written and interesting and a little bit sad, but also really wholesome. So I really like Vol as a character. And continuing my streak of glazing dwarfs, let's talk about Eisen. I've not much to say here really, other than I really like his character and these like mini plot twists, or at least like revelations you learn about his character along the way. From the start you might assume Eisen is this, standard stoic warrior, only focusing on endurance and strength, which is also true to an extent. I really like this clip. But then you get that one clip where Frieren thinks back on Eisen when witnessing Stark being afraid, where Eisen admits that he was scared against like a giant monster, and he also says that fear is not a bad thing, it is what brought him so far. I really like that quote. I can't really describe why, but I just think it's a really amazing quote, and there's something really wise and profound about Eisen as a character that I really appreciate beyond just being, the hacking slash warrior archetype. Stark and Eisen's relationship is also pretty interesting, and also a little flawed maybe, with how Eisen hit Stark full force and got him to like flee their little home thingy. Even though it was out of reflex because Eisen saw the the immense strength Stark had. So it was kind of like a self-defense reflex thingy. But still kind of an awkward conflict, I suppose. Another moment I find really interesting is in the very end of season 1. So again, big spoilers. Where Fern got admitted as like a first-class mage, or whatever it was called, and gets to pick whatever spell she wants from Ciri. I'm gonna call it Ciri, I don't know if it's true. It's been a little while since I actually watched anime, but yeah, Ciri. And Ciri is, one of the greatest mages ever, and extremely powerful, and has like this continued aspiration to make her students achieve new heights in magic, and continuously make grander and better magic. Like you continuing to improve in the field of magic. And then in like this context, Fern picks a spell that quote unquote makes clothes clean and spotless, and just flabbergasts Ciri. That moment is first off really funny, especially with how Ciri's and Frieren's relationship has been going. But it also has this deeper meaning, I think, especially with Fern declining to be Ciri's apprentice because she already has Frieren as her mentor. This moment kinda exemplifies the different philosophies, or at least ways of thinking that Ciri and Frieren have on magic. As stated before, Ciri kinda sees it as a discipline and a tool, something to seriously and continuously grow on, where Frieren sees magic, and I suppose also how Fern sees magic, as much more a means unto itself, which has been very apparent throughout the whole series, with them searching for all kinds of random spells and like folk spells and magics. And the scene where Frieren makes flowers and discovers Himmelsfärd flower and like produces it in this amazing scene on top of the tower. There's something really great about this, of appreciating the simple things, the beautiful things, of enjoying the moment. How it's much more about the magic in the moment and being present and enjoying the moments with those around you than just continuously advancing in the field of magic. As Frieren said herself in the series, the greatest joy of magic lies in searching for it. So yeah, you know, the metaphor to our real world is kinda apparent in that. And what's even more interesting in that is also that Siri, by also, you know, practicing the fairy spells of her students. So she has also produced some of those flowers herself and used some of those spells. In sort of a sentimental way, I suppose, in her own grumpy way, I guess. And that is of course not to say that improving and getting better is not part of the series. That's a big part of Fern's character arc, especially. But also that sometimes the great spells you can pick up is the one that helps you with laundry. So yeah, this was some moments I really wanted to talk about from, you know, the Frieren series. So thanks for watching and I hope you really enjoyed it. But this was just some of the characters and moments I really liked in the series. I could talk a lot more about like flamme, I don't know. I would produce it like flamme in Danish, I suppose. Or himmel in Danish also. Himmel I think is how it's pronounced. Or how, you know, the passage of time affects the narrative of the story. But I'll have to wait for another time with these other characters, though they are really interesting and fascinating. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!